Okay, so we started part 2 with dance, with Ish, the dance collective. And we're gonna also end with dance, because our next speaker is a dancer. She's a ballerina for the Dutch National Ballet. And this is a dream that she had back as a child, but we cannot draw a straight line from that dream to now. So let's listen to the extraordinary story by Michaela DePrince.
Hi, my name is Michaela DePrince, and I'm a ballerina with the Dutch National Ballet, co-author of Taking Flight and Ballerina Dreams, and ambassador with War Child Holland. Before I start telling you a little bit about myself, I just want to say how honored I am to be able to be part of this seminar, so thank you for that. The first time I ever told my story was about 4 years ago at the TEDx Amsterdam conference. And this is when I started to wonder, what was my purpose in life? What could I do to inspire others? And that's when I realized that my purpose was telling my story and encouraging people to see how incredible things that they could accomplish with hard work and perseverance. So with this new purpose, I started doing speeches around the world, trying to make a difference, trying to inspire people, but I felt like it wasn't enough. And I realized what I could do was to help children to see how incredible the incredible things that they could do with hard work and perseverance. So with my new story, I decided to come here today and tell you about it. About a story of a little girl who had no hope. I wasn't always called Michaela DePrince. My original name is Mabinti Bangura, and I was born in Sierra Leone, West Africa, in 1995. That was just 4 years into the bloody civil war that wouldn't end for another 7.5 years. This war would have displaced thousands of men. Thousands of women and children would have been raped. And over 50,000 men, children, and women would have been killed. My parents were among the dead. I had been born with vitiligo, a skin condition that causes patches of my skin to turn white. And in my village, because of this, they thought that I was the devil's child, and they called me the devil's child. It resulted in me being ridiculed and harassed. But I was lucky. My biological parents always defended me, because in my West Country, Africa, in Sierra Leone, they assumed that everything that went wrong was my fault, to the failure of the crops, to an epidemic. So my parents, they taught me to read and write and saved money for my education, so I'd be more than just a beggar on the street. But when the rebels killed my father and my mother passed away soon after, I was alone and defenseless. After my mother passed away, my uncle brought me to the orphanage and left me there. I was just 4 years old. In the orphanage, we had aunties who took care of us, but not like the aunties that you have at home. These aunties were uneducated, poor women from the local village who cleaned our clothes and gave us food in exchange for food to bring home to their own children. And these aunties numbered the 27 children in their care. Number 1 was the favorite child. That meant she got the biggest portion of food and the first option in the clothing pile. Number 27 was the least favorite child. She got the smallest portion of food. I was number 27. I was that child. Every day, I had hoped it was just a dream that my parents didn't pass away. I remember waking up at night, calling for them, hoping they would come and save me from this place, but they never came. I was lucky enough, though. I made a friend in the orphanage. Her name was Mabinti Suma. She was number 26 because she was left-handed and always in ill health. But she was always full of kindness and good cheer. She sang to me when I was frightened, comforted me when I was sad, listened to all my secrets. She stuck by me whenever I needed her, and she's still doing that today as my sister Mia. One morning, the harmattan blew an old yellow magazine down the street onto the orphanage gate. And on the cover of that magazine was a picture of a beautiful ballerina on point. I didn't really care the fact that she was doing something I've never seen before. Of course, I loved her pink tutu and her pink point shoes. But what really planted that seed of hope was the fact that she looked so happy and so content. And it was a feeling I hadn't felt in a very, very long time. And that's when I decided that I wanted to be just like her. That maybe if I started ballet and I became a ballerina, that I too would be happy one day. And a pregnant teacher came to our orphanage to teach us English. Her name was Teacher Sarah. Teacher Sarah explained to me that this ballerina, that this person on the photograph was a ballerina. So I told Teacher Sarah, I'm going to be just like her one day. So in preparation for that day, I skipped and leaped around the orphanage, kicking up dust in my wake, so I would have the opportunity to dance ballet whenever my pink satin point shoes ever came to me. I dreamt about it day and night. But then, again, I lost somebody I cared about. After a few extra lessons with Teacher Sarah, we started walking towards the orphanage gate. Me, of course, talking about that ballerina and how I couldn't wait to be her. But then, all of a sudden, it happened so fast. 2 rebels were walking towards our gate, a child rebel lagging behind, and a truckload of them turning around the corner. They saw that Teacher Sarah was pregnant. They started betting on whether it was a boy or a baby girl. They decided to find out. They took the machete out and cut her stomach open and saw it was a baby girl. And because it was a baby girl, they were upset by it and killed Teacher Sarah right in front of me. The child rebel copied the other rebels and took his machete out and cut my stomach. Again, I learned that this is what happens to people I care about. They die and leave me. One night, the rebels invaded our orphanage and made us leave. We found ourselves in an empty field with no food and only water from the local river. Our director decided the best thing for us to do was to walk 120 miles through the jungle and through the desert to a UN refugee camp in the neighboring country of Guinea. All of us arrived malnourished, exhausted, and sick with chickenpox. But in Guinea, I learned that I would be adopted by an American family. Of course, I really had mixed feelings about this because I desperately, desperately wanted somebody to love me for who I am. But at the same time, that would mean I might lose my beloved Mia, my beloved sister Mia, and my best friend. But I would have no say in that matter. Soon we were taken from Guinea and flown to Ghana. I had been airsick and I felt miserable, but then I saw her. She was wearing bright red sneakers, and she must have been running her fingers through her blonde short hair because it stuck out like the ray of the sun. She took my hand and she said, "I'm your new mama." And she took my best friend's hand and she led us away. When we got to the hotel room, I searched through every inch of my new mama's luggage, expecting to find my pink satin point shoes and my tutu. They weren't there. So the only way I could show her what I was looking for and what I wanted to become was to pull out that old yellow cover of the magazine out of my underwear and show her the most precious thing I ever had. And she understood right away what I wanted to be. And she said, "You will dance." Once we were in the United States, my American mother kept her promise and drove me to my very first ballet class. But before I could go, I begged her to buy me a leotard to hide my white spots so people would make fun of me. But as soon as I put it on, it was so hot and so itchy that I took it off and put on my very first pink leotard and pink tights. You see, for a long time, I dreaded looking at myself in the mirror and seeing those white spots. But eventually, I would just forget about them and just focus on ballet. So I continued to work as hard as I possibly could every single day. And by the time I was 10 years old, I was given the opportunity to dance Marie in the Nutcracker. And everybody knows the Nutcracker. Marie is like the best part to get. I practiced and practiced every single day, except one evening I heard my teacher saying to the other teachers, "America is not ready for a Black Marie." So I wasn't able to perform it. To hear that was devastating. And on top of that, my director told my teacher, "We don't put a lot of effort into Black ballerinas because they all end up getting big boobs and big thighs." Unfortunately, I guess I disappointed him. This is when I realized, though, that my spots weren't going to be the issue of me becoming that ballerina I always dreamt of being. It was the color of my skin. But little did they know, I was not to be stopped. Thank you. I continued to pursue my dream as a ballerina for the next 13 years. And in that time, I produced an ocean amount of sweat, used tubes and tubes of ointments on my sore muscles, and wore out approximately 650 pairs of pointe shoes. That's a lot. And on top of that, because I'm a brown ballerina, my mom taught me at the age of 10 to color my own pointe shoes to match my skin as well as my undergarments. And just last year, 15 years after I put on my very first pair of pink pointe shoes, Gaynor Minden came out with the very first brown pointe shoes. This now saves me a lot of time and a lot of paint. Finally, one day, after all those years of hard work, I leapt onto the stage as a professional ballerina. I had made my dream come true, a dream that had started more than just 19 years ago in the hot, dusty orphanage in Sierra Leone. But I keep dreaming. My dream is to one day open up a school, an art school in Sierra Leone, West Africa. I believe that everybody deserves a chance to have the opportunity to express themselves creatively, no matter what circumstances that they are born in. Whether you were born in the US or in Africa, your dreams should not be scattered because of the color of your skin, your economical background, or the lack of support from your surroundings. Because art doesn't come for free. For example, an average student, it costs about, if you have one pair of pointe shoes a month, it's $100 a pair of pointe shoes. I wore out 4 a month. Expensive for my parents, very expensive. Oh, and don't forget, I had to use the paint as well. And on top of that, the cost for classes, attire, and performances. And a lot of people are not able to pay that. This is why I believe the arts deserve more government funding, because I would not be here today if I didn't have the opportunity to find a way to express myself and the things I had been through if it wasn't for dance. So, this is my story. It is one of hard work, suffering, heartache, and loss. It is also one of love, joy, achievement, forgiveness, and daring to dream. Dare to make your talent a part of your dream. Dare to be who you want to be, no matter what obstacles you face. Your past will always be a part of your past, but it does not define you. Dare to use your voice for those who have lost their voice. Dare to make love a part of your life. And I'll dare myself that one day I won't have to say I'm a black ballerina, that one day I can say I'm a ballerina. Thank you.